Well, hello. Let's see if we can get into this. The whole goal of this is to go over my DJX presentation before next week. So I put the slideshow together, and it's all about presenting value to you and all the things that I've learned through tens of thousands of dollars of courses, and I've got 1 hour to present it all. So I figured being rehearsed would be the best way to go about it. So if you want to learn how AI can help your business and the best way to go about it, this is what I've found throughout my years of studying, and I actually got results too. So again, you guys are amazing. Thanks for watching the video. Make sure to hit the like, smash button, whatever. Leave a comment, tell your grandma, something like that. I don't know. So here we go. Let's get into it. Now, the first thing that I wanted to get into in my presentation for Atlantic City was going over the business brain. So there's all these different LLMs, large language models, right? But before you get into that, let's go ahead and figure out what your business is first, right? Like, you could go through and answer, I don't know, I think I got a page of 21 categories, right? Of all the different things that you would need in order to, create custom GPTs or whatever you wanted to do. You would add this document after you've answered all these questions to your custom GPT or whatever LLM you're using. I think they're called GEMs in Gemini. So with that in mind, I've got a little link button you could share, and the thing can talk to you, right? So what it looks like is this, and you can hit the Start Fresh button, and it'll ask you all these questions about your business. So before we get too crazy into that, let's go ahead and get into the slideshow part. You don't need to make it overcomplicated, but at the same time, if you have this document already prepped and ready to go, you can then continue from a fresh foundation of how you want to react to leads, emails, marketing, or how to even scale or train people that are under you answering the phone or handling customers as you progress and get larger, right? So you could be doing it all by yourself. You could have a small team, or maybe you're just doing a few events a month. Anyway, this will help you be able to scale and, most importantly, save time. I can't express how much time I've been able to save by just having this document alone as a building block. Now, anything with AI, it's one thing to understand is once you add a prompt, you're probably going to be, tinkering with it to get it to go exactly how you want it to go. Because remember, you're talking to a computer that can do pretty much anything, right? So the more specific and the more rules, and I think of it like, ever been bumper bowling, right? They have those bumpers on the side. Well, it can go all over the place, but this kind of helps you stay in the lanes and knock down them pins, because the whole goal is to have happy customers and convert more leads into customers, right? And doing it on scale without having to answer the same question all the time, right? It'll already know all those things, and then you can upload documents as well anytime you create anything more customized for you. But the whole goal of the brain, right, is to have that starting ground. And why is that important, right? How much of your business only works because you remember it all? Have you wrote it down, right? All these things that you're doing and have been doing for I don't know how long. Like, have you actually written it down? Have you figured out, if this question comes in, how do you react? Or if this person is somewhere on your value ladder of when they're going to sign, how do you handle those things? Do you have your blueprint or your factory line already kind of figured out? Now, I know some people may not want to look at it as like a factory line, but at the same time, people are at different stages of when they want to book your business, right? Or if they're going to book your business, or they want to feel comfortable within your ecosystem. And then having this document is a way to streamline what you have going on. So again, process helps at every level. Save time, move faster, and reduce repetition. How many times have you had to answer the same question that comes in, and they're going to ask the same question every single time because your customer or your lead only has a specific amount of questions they're going to be able to ask you. And then if you could, hit back with replies that are customized to the person that are sending you emails, and then that just makes you more efficient, right? And then, of course, growth changes the conversation. So when you start to scale, more leads, a growing team, support staff, and then when you start doing hundreds of events, the rules start to change as you grow, right? So you got to figure out where that bottleneck is, and that's why we got this little image here of a bottleneck. It's like, do you have enough staff to be able to handle all the events do you have coming in? Do you have somebody in the office that can handle, all the calls that you get? And Well, how many of those questions are going to come in? They're all going to be the same, and it's going to be a little monotonous and a little repetitive. So you can actually have like an AI, answer some calls, and not particularly answer a call, but like someone's going to call up and like, oh, what's your prices? And then the AI can guide them along to, hey, look, you called an entertainment company and the owner is on stage right now or helping another client, right? Well, the best time to schedule or to find out more about your event would be to schedule a Zoom call. So we do Zoom calls Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then the AI, either a chat bot or a voice bot, can direct them to your calendar. And then the way I do it, right, is that leads will come in, they'll go to the website, they'll ask some questions, they'll say, oh, every event is pretty much customized to what you got going on, which is basically the whole premise, right? You want to be able to sit down with them and find out if it's a good match between you and them. They may be asking for something that you can't provide, or maybe they're just price shopping, and this will be a way to answer their questions and they'll feel comfortable with everything. And I usually don't give out my prices until they've had a chance to either give us a call or sit down with us, unless I already know who they are. Like a venue. Oh, we saw you perform last Saturday. Send us over your price sheets, which is something that's pretty common. You can direct the AI to do that for you. And again, the owner holding everything together is not a system, right? You want to be able to make it scalable and then be able to teach somebody quickly so that you can go do things that will make you money, right? So I don't know if you guys are familiar with the 20-80 rule, but basically 20% of what you focus on gives you 80% of your growth or your outcome or your fruits or your productivity, right? So if you could focus your 20% on maybe going to venues or working on getting more leads to come in, right? While the leads that do come in, it could handle that for you, and then you would just sit down with them on whatever your calendar is scheduled out to do. Then you can handle each lead or client from that point moving forward. So just keep that in mind. So you have leads, client questions, follow-up, team decisions. It's easier if you have this on automation and AI handling it than it is to go through everything that you have coming in. And it also depends on how many leads you have coming in, if you can handle the workflow. But basically the image here is like you trying to hold on to everything when it's just going to take off, right? Like, remember that Captain America, like that helicopter is going to take off and you're just sitting there trying to hold it. But if you had things on automation, then it would be a little bit easier to handle. So what we have next is your experience has to leave your head. What do you know? Turn it into a process, and then now others can follow it. So as you think about that, right, like if you were to scale out, if you were to have a team of 20 people or so, how would that play out? And have you thought about it, right? That's the whole point of the business brain. It asks you all those drilling questions so you don't have to come up with it anytime somebody asks you something. And there's 21 rounds in here, right? So you could go through this document and answer every single one of them and put them into a GPT or however it seems fit. Or you could, add the custom GPT that's in the link of the document and talk to it while you're driving your car. And whenever you're done talking to it, say, hey, look, print me out everything we've done, and then I'll add this to my next session and we'll pick up from there, because this will take you like an hour to an hour and a half to be able to fill out the document. So with that in mind, right, AI cannot read your mind, right? So a lot of people out there I've talked to, they're like, oh, it's not doing what I want it to do. It's not giving me the results I want, because again, AI can do anything and everything, but you want to, train it to think like you think. So a lot of people have this, stigma that AI is bad or something like that. It's just that they kind of went at it lackadaisically, and they didn't, really take the time to train the AI or come up with scenarios maybe they didn't even think of. And then you train it from there. It's like, hey, I didn't like the way you answered that question. Let's just go back and fix that. So you'll end up doing a lot less tinkering if you already have a document to start with than, just kind of going at it, right? So again, if you asked a stranger to speak for your company, what would it say? That's kind of like what you're asking AI to do. So that's basically the importance of having the brain or going through the questions. And do not just prompt the AI. You got to interview it like it's an employee for your business, right? And then, of course, you may have a different way of selling than I sell. And then hopefully, with this video series, you'll be able to pick up a few tips and tricks of how I do things, and then just add it to what you already have going on. Like, how do you sell? How do you handle pricing? What should never be promised, right? How do you follow up? what makes somebody a good fit, and what happens next. Again, when we go back to, well, the factory line or the value ladder, you would want to understand how each station works, and be able to identify where that person is on your value ladder or factory line, right? So a cold email would come in and it would be like, oh, what's your prices? And then you respond with an email or something that says, hey, look, thanks for reaching out. We'd love to talk to you about your event. These are all the things that I provide. Give us a call, or what's a good time to call you back? Because a lot of emails come in and they don't have like a phone number or something like that. They probably just found you on Google or some other site, right? Unless, it was somebody who found you from another event that you did, or it was referral. Now, someone who is a referral would be more likely to book because they already have comfort of somebody else referring them because they've used you in the past type thing. So another thing that people may not understand is it takes 12 to 18 times of somebody seeing you or being able to create that comfort level of going with your service. And then again, when you have a lot of things on AI, it's like you plant a lot of seeds and then you just go and collect the fruit at the end of the day. So it's not like you just push a button and now all of a sudden you're busy. It's like, okay, well, I planted this seed, and planted that seed, and I don't have to tend to them too much because the automation and AI is kind of already doing that for me, because you have things that are called automation and workflows. And as long as you understand how the machine is built, right, then you can create it however you want. And that's a problem that I've run into with some business owners. They have all these things that are running, but they haven't actually thought about, what the journey actually is. And then when you understand what the journey is, then you can create it how it makes most sense to their business, or what makes their clients feel comfortable within their ecosystem. So just keep that in mind. Of how to build a blueprint. But right now we're just doing the business brain. We will cover more things about the factory line or the value ladder as we move along on the presentation, right? Or part 2 of the video series. it's in there somewhere. But understand the basics first, right? The event business brain. Pull these things out of your head, right? Voice and tone, offers and packages, processes and flow, pricing rules, boundaries, client journey, next steps. Right? Business brain builder, right? What does it do for you? It answers the questions one at a time. Use it at home, put it in your car, talk to it. And then when you're done, of course, export all the answers and then pick up where you left off. Before AI can write like your business, it must understand your business. And this is the first step in creating your custom GPTs moving forward. So again, guys, this is video 1 of DJX presentation. If you want to know how this stuff plays out, make sure to follow, subscribe, join my email list, and I'll be putting a lot of the other videos inside of my school group, and I'll have some free giveaways when I'm in Atlantic City. I will catch you on the next one.